All right, hello everyone. This is Thomas Bird with Tabletop Life. Today we're bringing you a summary battle report of Ultramarines versus Necrons. We get a lot of requests for some Necron action. We actually play a lot of games versus Necrons here, but we don't actually have any on camera, so we're going to change that today. I got a really good Mephrit shooting list versus my tweak tournament list. I'm always tweaking. There's always tournaments. So let's jump into the Ultramarine list, and then we'll see what the Necrons are bringing. So today I'm running a Supreme Command backed up by 2 patrols. Of course, Roboute Guilliman, Roboute as we call him around here, is leading the charge as the Warlord. Patrol number 1, we have a Master Sanctity Chaplain on bike. He's got the +1 to hit and +1 to wound litanies. He's got the Seal of Oath relic. I got a 5-man Infiltrator squad with the Helix. I got 2 units of Vitreous Guard doing Vitreous Guard things. We got a 2 5-man units of Devastators. One's going to have 3 grav and a multi-melta, and then one's going to have 3 multi-meltas and a grav. They both got cherubs. That one-off weapon lets me flex and let me switch the weapons depending on who I'm shooting at. If I need to use the cherub on a specific gun, I have a little bit of options there. Of course, they have a drop pod. They usually ride in. The new facts, the new changes and points had me having to make some tweaks. Since they come in from reserve, they're always going to be -1 to hit. So this pod, I'm kind of questioning whether I want a Rhino or rather have a pod, because that really defeats my Ultramarine bonus, counting as stationary. But I digress. The second patrol is led by Tigerius. He's got Veil of Time, Mighty Heroes, and Psychic Fortress. He's also got a friendly Inquisitor, if you can call Inquisitors friendly. He is an Alpha class Psyker. He's fully loaded up to the gills. He's got Psychic Veil and Castigation as his 2 powers. His targets might help against Satan. He is also got a Relic Blade. So my troops, 10-man intercessors. These guys are workhorse units. Got a Power Fist. I got the Assault auto bolt rifles, 2 grenade launchers. These sweet Artel miniatures. I've used these in the past as proxies for infiltrators, but they're so cool. They're true scale models from Artel. That are scouts. So they're actually scouts. Scouts are back, baby. Got some scouts here. We'll talk about why as we get into the game. Hopefully they do the tricks that I wanted to do. Got a Landspeeder Storm for them to ride in. And then I got a 5-man Hellblaster squad. These guys always do work. I love the Hellblasters. They're so good. It's so hard for me only to take 5, but somehow I always get stuck with just 5. I do have Mastercrafted on the Sergeant, so he can do extra work getting his gun up to 3 damage in those critical situations where it matters. All right, so that's the Ultramarine list. Let's take a look at the Necrons and see what we're facing today.
Hi everybody, this is Walter. I live down the street from the Tabletop Life guys, and they've drafted me in to play some Necrons. I'm playing Mephrit Necrons this time around, and I have a Pharaon. You probably know that the Pharaon of Mephrit is missing, of course. Well, now you know where he is. On this Catacomb command barge, wielding the Voltaic staff and a Gauss cannon on the bottom. We're going to be trying to take out Roboute Guilliman and, change history here. Aided in this with the rest of his HQ, we've got the Canoptek cloak-bearing Cryptek with the Hypermaterial Ablator and a Staff of Life. He's carrying the Veil of Darkness today, which is probably not a huge surprise. Over here next to the giant set of dice, we have the Royal Warden. He has the Conduit of the Stars, the Mephrit-only relic, so he can shoot a truly dizzying amount of fire. Back in the back, I have a giant unit of warriors, 20 deep, carrying Gauss Reapers. That's the new kit, and it's just been absolutely bearing out in my eyes, so I don't even consider taking Gauss Flayers anymore. We have a pair of units of 5 Immortals here in the front. They're differentiated by their bases. These Immortals have Tesla weapons, because those have been newly rendered a little cheaper by GW, so I'm bringing back my, favorite Tesla for a test drive, so to speak. Tesla drive, maybe? I think I'm funny. The Transcendental Satan here on the right is carrying the Transdimensional Thunderbolt and the Time's Arrow for his powers. I've chosen the ability where he gets 2 powers that he uses each turn. I've got a trio of Annihilation Barges, and they have Gauss cannons underneath. I really like the Barges. They're a mainstay in my lists. Just very dependable, durable shooting. They could stand to be a little cheaper, but, we do what we can. In the back, I've got a Tomb Stalker. He's using the particle weapon, the 8-shot gun on the bottom to save a few points. I think it's just as good as the more expensive one. And then finally, we have 2 units of 9 Tomb Blades. Now, there's only 17 there, but it's a missing man formation. We're proxying one of those 8-man units for a 9-man unit, because my painter has taken the last guy off to paint some more Tomb Blades. My Tomb Blades are all bare bones. They've got particle beamers and nothing else, and they really do work for me every time. Army lives and dies on its Tomb Blades. So we're going to be taking down these Ultramarines in high style with lots of shooting, getting close, getting in half range, and get the AP. That's the Mephrit way.
All right, guys, we've got the table set up and the mission selected. So let's take a quick look at the mission. We're playing Scorched Earth. This is a take and hold mission, so just hold 1 for 5 points. The special secondary is raised. No one's taking that. It is a Dawn of War deployment with 6 objectives. So we are doing player place terrain. We'll get to the board in a second. Taking a quick look, we got our fancy little scoreboard up. You don't have to look at my chicken scratch anymore. If you've seen some of our other battle reports, Walter, playing the Necrons, has chose Purge Vermin, Grind Them Down, and Banners. So he's going to try to keep me out of his quarters. He's going to try to kill more than I kill of him. And then he's going to just plant some banners. Those pesky Necrons just going to sit in the back. This is not a bad mission for that. On my side, I'm going to hit behind enemy lines, so it's kind of aggressive against his army, especially as bad as it shoots. Some Moment, that's a Space Marine special secondary. The middle's kind of open, you'll see the board. Not the greatest choice, but it should have some play if I can kill stuff. And the new deploy scramblers is called Retrieve Octarius Data, or something like that. So that's my choices. I want to check out the scouts, see if I can get behind enemy lines and retrieve data. Hopefully they don't just die in the first turn and I don't get to learn anything from that. See if Walter now goes all in to kill him. Let's take a quick look at the board. We did roll for sides after we did the deployment of the terrain. So just looking at the board, it's kind of uneven and stacked. Every time we play Walter, you got to be careful. He's going to do that to you and bank on you not getting a good roll for your sides. I have a redeploy, so I'm always a little less worried about terrain because I'll just move. But in this circumstance, I lost the roll, and look at this board. There's no place to hide here. There's literally no place to hide. So I stacked my whole army over here. You're looking at his side. I'll hand it to Walter and kind of go through his thoughts deploying. But I'm basically just hiding everything. I don't even know if I want to go first. Against Necrons, typically you don't. But I don't want to be stuck in this hole. So Necrons, where are you deploying, Walter? Why'd you put your guys here?
Okay, so it became clear very early on that Thomas was refusing a flank entirely, relying on his ability to redeploy to make me account for all possible places he could be placed. There's no way to hide from an enemy who can redeploy his army and shoot you wherever you're going to be. So I've placed my units in a way that takes advantage of the overall spread out nature of my army. With less auras giving rerolls, Necrons can spread out a lot. I embraced his refused flank, and I've let him get 2,000 points of his army faced across from much less points of that from my army. So in the early going, I expect the exchange will strongly favor Thomas. But I've got this other flank over here, and in a game of 6 objectives, Thomas is currently near 1. So I feel like I've got the primary edge where he's going to have the attrition edge. His secondaries are very strongly suggesting that he's coming across the board really fast. His placement suggests that it's going to be effectively through here that he's coming. Since he wants to be towards the center, we might also see something over here. I'm set up over here to make that a bit of a painful slog, but you can't really stop Roboute and his boys from coming where he wants to go. My deployment, therefore, was made with that in mind. I'm going to skirt forward here and around this flank here. And try and slow him here while pushing into the unopposed area over here, such that ultimately I'm able to hold the majority of the board for the majority of the game, even though I'm losing more pieces than he is. That's the plan anyway. So back to Thomas.
All right. So let's do the roll, see who goes first. We don't know. I think the Necrons don't want to go first. They never do. A 4 to a 1.
I'm going first.
Those pesky Necrons going first. You can't even see that 1 on this. I got to use the other dice. We'll be back after his first turn. I'm probably going to redeploy a little bit. Yes.
Maybe.
All right, real quickly, before we get into Walter's first turn, I did go ahead and spend the redeploy. A lot of questions were asked, kind of why did you set up and then still redeploy? There's a lot of answers for that. We don't want to go through all of them here. But here's the 3 units I redeployed. I moved this chaplain up here. He's next to the Vitreous Guard, so he's protected, to make space for this speeder. I had originally put it up right on the line. The reason I did that is if I went first, that guy, this vehicle I've just recently discovered has the assault vehicle rule, which is the same rule the Impulsor has, which means it can move and the guys can get out after it moves. So if you do the math on this deployment, I can get scouts 18 inches up the board, deploy, and then get into his zone and get behind enemy lines and deploy scramblers in his zone. It's like crazy. So that was my plan. I did not go first. So the speeder is vulnerable to getting killed. But I wanted to try to make it a little bit harder for him. If he wants him, come get it. He's got to get close to me. So that's 2 units. My third unit, I had some Hellblasters kind of tucked in here just from the spacing. Also to see if he would take the bait and put guys across for me. But then I tucked them in behind the wall. So they're just right there on the toe on the line. Those infiltrators are just in front of the line, but they're infiltrators so they can afford to go outside the zone. So I got a perfect little pocket here for basically my entire army. The only thing in reserve is a drop pod with 2 Devastator squads. And then the scouts are inside the speeder. So that's it. We're going to go and do Walter's movement. We'll be back after his first turn. All right, the end of turn 1, pretty uneventful. He had grind, so I was hoping he would try to push some bikes up and trade, but he wasn't foolish enough to fall for that. But he did get his Satan, sneaky Satan, could still do powers and still plant a banner, even though he had guys. I guess the guys could have planted the banner.
Only infantry can plant banners.
Oh, there you go. Never mind. That's right. So those guys planted a banner. He used his veil to jump his warriors behind his block. They planted a banner. I'm kind of glad he wasted his veil there, but that is a problem with those guys there. They're never going to get got. I marked them for my Seal of Oath, so also a target that I'm probably not going to get to use rerolls on for a while, if at all. He's marked here. So he's got 3 banners. He ran this spider up. Everyone kind of positioned away. These bikes advanced kind of low. On his Satan powers, he spent a CP to switch to, what's the name of that power? We don't know. 3 units, roll under, take some mortal wounds. He was able to do 3 mortal wounds to a Hellblaster unit, killed 1, and then 2 mortal wounds to an Infiltrator unit, killed 1. So that's the end of his turn. He did not get grind. So a quick look at the score sheet on the bottom of turn 1. Not really anything to show yet. His purge doesn't kick in until turn 2. No grind, and he planted a bunch of banners. So let's go to my turn and see what the Ultramarines can do on turn 1. All right, here we're at the end of the Ultramarine movement phase, bottom of turn 1. We spent my 1 CP to guerrilla tactics my infiltrators, so they went back into reserve. Again, I'm trying to play for behind enemy lines and scramblers, so I need those guys because I'm so far out of position to kind of be able to come in from a flank. Also, I need them to get out of my way so I could run with these Vitreous Guards. So I'm going to get on this point. It's only 1 guy on the objective. I need to hold 2 to get 10 points. I feel like I'm not going to get that objective, but it may entice him to shoot or charge those guys with Pinky. Everyone else just kind of moved up. We did deploy scramblers here with the 10-man intercessors. We did grow back, heal that Hellblaster that was dead. These guys here, the 4 men that are left, are in reserve. Over here, the pod, he conveniently ran away, so he left me his deployment zone. So I'm going to pick up behind enemy lines with that drop pod and this unit. That's 2 units in his zone. End of my turn, I'll pick up 4 points. I debated whether I wanted to scramble here, but I don't think so. So my target here is trying to shoot that unit of bikes with these multi-meltas. I don't know. That's going to go well. I don't know if I have enough shots to do enough damage. And then here we have Grav Guy's going to try to pick up those Immortals and plink some wounds off of Pinky here. So his little Satan, baby Satan, we got to always chip off some wounds. And then I'm tucked in pretty tight. He'll have angles to shoot at me, but we'll see. Hopefully he can't kill me all. So it's risky trying to go after those Immortals. But all right, we'll be back after the shooting phase and see what I've killed. All right, end of turn 1. The dust has settled. Didn't quite go as I expected, but when we did the math, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't nearly have enough guns to kill all those bikes, but I did roll well, did kill some bikes. So we'll take a look at the board, but quickly looking at the score, I did drop and get 2 units inside his deployment zone, so I got behind enemy lines. I did only score 1 point for Oath because I didn't kill any characters or vehicles, and I did do 1 scrambler, so we don't have any points on that yet. Nothing yet for the banners, but he's about to pick up a bunch of banners and no grind. And not purge yet. That happens on turn 2. Looking at quickly at the board, we saw the movement. Really what came down for shooting was how many bikes did I kill? I killed 6 bikes, but 1 grew back. And I killed all of those Immortals. So, and we know that the pod is there. I just have my little marker there. So that is it. End of my turn. We'll come back at the beginning of Walter's movement phase.
I've moved up to challenge the drop pod on the flank with a Catan and a unit of bikes. Little unfortunate with the Catan powers, only killed 1 guy. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and use 3 Annihilation barges and some strats to shoot the unit here off the center with backup from the Catacomb command barge. Hope at the end of this round is that the Catan and the bikes are engaged with the drop pod so that they can't get shot, and that the character is sheltered by not being closer than the guys who are fighting the drop pod. And that I have killed him off of that, so you're going to begin the turn and only get 5 points, which would really put me in the driver's seat as far as primary goes. But that's all going to be up to the dice.
All right, we're at the end of the Necron Assault phase. He shot and fought over here, as expected, between the bikes ignoring cover and point-blank range. And the relic shots from this guy rapid firing. Those Devastators died, and then he tagged the pod, so he charged the pod. Stupid pod strikes again, always causing me problems. Over here, he did not elect to spend the CP to ignore invulnerable saves because they didn't have any. And then he proceeded to roll a bunch of 1s and 2s to wound because he's only strength 6. He's not the Nightbringer. So I managed to stay alive. I used that movement to swing around and get a little closer. I punched, but I did not do any damage. But I'm going to go over there and take that banner away from him. Over here, the Lone Victrix. I did spend 2 CP on him. Transhuman and 1 reroll. Costly, but it did save me 5 points. I was able to stay alive, hold that objective. I'll now be able to grow a guy back with the Apothecary and extend my movement a little bit. So it's a bonus. That's the end of the movement phase. Or that's the end of the Necron phase. Let's go into the bottom of turn 2 and see what the Ultras can do in response. All right, we are here at the end of turn 2. Ultramarine movement phase is complete. We're about to do some psychics. We need to get rid of that Satan. So this is all in an effort to do that. Had to make some sacrifices here, but I think we're going to be okay. So these guys all evacuated my little hidey hole. It's go time. The chaplain hung back to sit on the objective. We do have a couple troops hanging there as well. They are going to be in danger to get shot, but hopefully we can kill a couple things before we go out. We grew back a Victrix Guard, so he's going to be a little closer to help charge in. We ran these other Victrix Guard to protect the characters. Guilliman moved up. He's ready to help assist killing Pinky. Over here, the drop pod has moved. The speeder has moved up. The scouts have jumped out, and then they're deploying scramblers in his zone. I've fallen back with the remnants of that Devastator squad. So now Pinky's wide out in the open. So I got a couple smites I'm going to do to him, soften him up. Then I'm going to shoot him, and then I'm going to try to kill him in combat. So that's the plan. These guys, unfortunately, are safe. They're safe. Bikes. Can't do anything about the bikes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to charge them. Jeez. We shall see. All right, we'll be back. All right, end of the assault phase for the Ultramarines. We did make the charge. I wanted to charge those bikes, but it was a little too far. I needed 11. I ended up rolling an 11. I was a little mad, but that was not the safe play. I charged the Satan instead. Guilliman flubbed his wound rolls. Only did 3 wounds, but Satan was nice enough to fail 2. He did explode, but then only did 1 wound to each guy. So fantastic. Victrix Guards just piled in. So that let me keep behind enemy lines for 2 units. I did retrieve data, so the new scramblers, in that table quarter. So it's not his zone, it's his table quarter. So that'll give me my second, so that'll give me 4 points there. And yeah, that's it. So plan went off, smiting and shooting and attacking. Over here, I split my attacks like a foolish dummy and left that guy on 2 wounds, and this guy only took 2 wounds, and magically I could have killed 1. I had to move my guys outside of Guilliman range, so I ended up not having the rerolls that I needed to finish them off. So looking at the score at the end of turn 2, Ultramarines are ahead early. I'm scoring a lot of secondaries, but so is Walter. I'm kind of conceding that. I do have a couple more objectives this time. I did take away one of his banners, so it's going to slow him down a little bit. We shall see, though. So got my behind enemy lines. That's working out for me. Os, not so much. So I got to start looking at the center in these late turns and see what I can do. All right, we're at the end of the Necron turn 2? Turn 3?
Top 3.
Top of 3. So These bikes right here fell back because both it was their fallback turn and they had the little Royal Warden here that let them shoot and still charge. So they shot the scouts and plinked at the speeder, didn't kill it, but then they finished it off with these guys. Killed the speeder, scouts are dead. Also killed the grav guys, devastators that were there. Then they used their charge again to touch the pod so they could be annoying. Over here, Super Tomb Spider did his thing to ignore cover on my Hellblasters. So everyone else got to reroll ones against that target and ignore the forest, which was a big deal because I put -1 on the Intercessors and not the Hellblasters. I transhuman them. It was a close affair. It took all the barges and half of the bikes and the spider to finally finish them off. He did split a few bikes onto the Intercessors, killed one and did a wound, but the Apothecary says, "Ha! I laugh at you," but he did dwindle my 5-man unit that is going to do a lot of work on him, so we'll have to figure out what's going on there. Here, the Warriors just moved up, just straddling these objectives since the bikes kind of advanced to get into position. And then over here, these guys just shuffled back. They ran. They're just trying to zone me out, but just also kind of getting that point. So that's it for the Necron turns. Let's see what the Ultramarines can do. Because it's a big turn here. See if we can start picking up some of his units. Otherwise, I'm going to start running thin. All right, bottom of turn 3. Ultramarines movement is complete. We're making our push towards the center. We did get the litany of +1 to hit and +1 to wound with the chaplain. He drove out from behind that wall. He's here. He's got Seal of Oath, so he could help there, but I don't think I need to. There's bikes right here. This stupid spider. Guilliman's coming up to help, but he's outside of the full rerolls. I had 1 CP that I got at the beginning of that turn. I was saving it for the guys to reroll all their hits, but unfortunately, I needed to use it on a reroll for Tigerius. He ran. He was kind of exposed. Victrix have other things to do, so I had to reroll it. I did reroll it and make it. I'm on the objective. Kind of exposed on the objective, so that's not a great place for him to be. But I need to hope that these Victrix Guard can do work and then somehow screening protect him. That's the plan. We got to kill those guys. I'm trying to smite them and potentially... I can't shoot them, so I got to smite them to make that character exposed. That's the only plan I have to get them away from that guy from falling back. Over here, I did bring in my infiltrators. They are doing the last retrieve data. Well, in this table quarter, this is a retrieve on this quarter. That will also force him to shoot at those guys to take Purge away. So he'll have to deal with that and potentially save some guns over here. I do need to... I don't have any guns to affect that over there. Yeah, we're off to the psychic phase. Got the Inquisitor here. He's going to have to try to stay alive. All right, we're here at the bottom of the Ultramarines turn 3. Things could have went better. I had some last minute indecision and I changed my mind, and that caused me some issues with my placement, but we shall see. I needed to kill a vehicle or a character. I proceeded to do neither. These Victrix Guard charged over here and tagged those bikes. I need to kill that character so they can't fall back. Guess what they did? Did not kill the character. He's still alive with 2 wounds, like terrible rolling. Over here, I decided not to shoot the bikes because they can't fall back. I decided to shoot with my full rerolls on Seal of Oath on the Warriors. I killed 16 in my volley, and he got 8 guys back up. Then I shot a couple more, 2 more dead with the chaplain. So he's definitely going to fail morale unless he rolls a 1. He decides, I'm just going to roll a 1, and he doesn't fail morale. Ugh. Yuck. I had debated where to put these guys. In hindsight, I should have put them over here because I could have potentially charged those guys, but I needed to get my retrieve data, so it was kind of risk versus reward. If I had thought about that I was going to shoot him, I probably would have put him over here. But I did pick up 4 points for retrieve data. And then you see this little mark right here because Guilliman is supposed to be killing that vehicle. Remember, I needed to kill a vehicle or a character? He was a backup plan. He's supposed to kill this spider. He failed the 7-inch charge. And I spent my 1 reroll on Tigerius, so he doesn't have a reroll. Oh, no. And then so the Intercessors tag the bikes, charge the guy. Don't kill the guy. He's got 5 wounds left. They're supposed to kill that guy and then pile in and get Oath of Moment. I didn't get into the center. No Oath of Moment. So I only pick up 1 point.
I have 3 for grind that turn.
Oh, yes. So we'll update the score here. We're slightly off. I did not get the grind because all my things fell through. So Walter is picking up 10 on his primary on turn 3. He picked up Purge Vermin, 4 points for his 2 cores I'm not in. At the end of his turn, he did get 3 points for grind, so we'll fix that. So it should actually be 42 to 44. And he picked up 3-4 banners. I got my 4 for behind, so I'm on pace to get all behind enemy lines. Drop pod at least is doing something for me. 1 point for Oath, what a letdown. And 4 points for retrieve data, so I'm up to 8. Only have 1 more quarter to go. So the final score for turn 3 is 44 to plus 3 more, 42. Let's go into turn 4 and see what's next.
All right. So Guilliman failing that charge is really good for me. I'm going to try and assassinate Tigurius with these perpetually falling back bikes, backed up by an Annihilation Barge or 2. The Royal Warden, despite falling back, can't shoot. Meanwhile, in the center, his intercessors are far away from their doctor. I'm going to try and give him some business from the advancing warriors and potentially an Annihilation Barge if that doesn't work. My Tomb Blades, meanwhile, have fallen back, and they're regrouping for another pass. And in this quarter, I'm going to try and keep my Purge Vermin using my Immortals and my Overlord with his Voltaic staff.
Oh, all right. Well, that was a brutal turn. Here we are at the bottom of end of turn 4, I guess end of the Necron turn top. He went first, so I haven't started Ultramarines. We're not at the bottom just yet, but I feel like I'm at the bottom right now after that shooting phase. So he popped a strat with these warriors that advanced to wound on 6s, auto wound on the hits. I was able to roll well. I had a couple guys tow into the ruin, so they tanked a bunch of wounds. He did, 13, 14 wounds to me. Ended up losing 4 guys of that. Then he shot with 1 barge, 2 barges. Killed the last 4 guys. Tigurius got shot with these 3 bikes. I needed him to not die there to force a barge to shoot at him. He died to the bikes. He said 6 or 7 saves and he failed 5. It was terrible. One of the barges was left to shoot here. I made a lot of saves, only took 1 wound. The command barge and the Immortals were just able to kill the 4 infiltrators down to the last wound. Again, if one guy had lived, it would have forced another barge to shoot over here. So my plan to kind of saturate his firepower didn't work. He was able to just kill every unit to force my hand here. It's looking bleak, very bleak. I'm very thin on the ground. It's only turn 4. Don't know if I can do much, but I'm going to try to do the best I can here. We're still going to score some points, but I think it's going to fall off on the last turn. We'll see. All right, we're here at the bottom of Ultramarines' turn 4 movement. It is really dicey. There's not a lot going down. We got to really push the envelope here. I was thinking about shooting with him, so I gave him both the litanies. No one else was really close, but I needed him to be in the center to get Oath, so he just turbo boosted instead. These Victrix Guard are moving out. They need to hit a long charge so that they can, 1, help protect Robo from getting shot, and 2, potentially protect the chaplain from getting shot, and also maybe tag some warriors. Guilliman is going to try to do some work over there. Victrix have to kill a character so I can get a point. Potentially stop those stupid bikes from falling back. I have to get rid of that character. Why are they alive? I should have just shot both Devastators at them. And then stay in that zone so I can get behind enemy lines again. Go drop pod. That's the plan. Maybe potentially tag 2 tanks. I've given up on that objective. I don't really care about it because he's going to get full primary. I just need to hold on to my stuff. So here we go. Got to tag those bikes. All right, Ultramarines fans, we're at the end of turn 4. It all went to plan. I don't know if it's going to work out. There was a slight hiccup when he exploded that spider. So we did unnerk that character. What they should have done last turn, tied up those bikes. We charged and tagged these warriors with the Victrix Guard here. You notice there's only 1 because when he exploded, because Guilliman killed that spider with authority, he auto-exploded with the CP, rolled, killed 3 wounds on Guilliman, 3 wounds on Victrix, killed him, and then 2 wounds on his warriors, 3 wounds actually, and then just pulled him out of combat anyways, but did some wounds to his things. But overall great, because now I'm not tagged on those warriors, but it did leave me in the center. I am still slightly protected for my characters, at least until that Victrix guy goes away. But it's looking bleak. Let's look at the score. It looks really close. I don't know how it's going to end up in the end. I don't have anybody to get into his last quarter. But looking at the score, 62 to 61. He did pick up grind. I was only able to kill 2 things. He had killed 3 during his turn. He picked up his 4 in his Purge Vermin by killing those infiltrators that were back in his quarter. So he had those 2 quarters. Picked up 3 more banners. I've not gone over there. Again, should have put those infiltrators in the other quarter, especially shooting at them. My line, I picked up the max on behind enemy lines, so a 3 there just because it caps it at 15. I did get the full oath this time. Yay, oath, but retrieve data. I don't know if I can get the last one to get up to 12, so it's going to be hard for that. So that's the end of turn 4. One more turn to go. All right, guys, we're done with the Necron turn 5. We don't even have to play the Ultramarine turn 5 because that's how bad it went. We'll go ahead and walk through it, and then we'll show the final score. The Victrix Guard died in a hail of gunfire from the Warriors. Didn't even bother to survive that first volley. He actually grew a couple guys back, so they had even more shots. The Victrix Guard got shot by 2 barges and died there. That left Guilliman to take another barge. He took 4 out of his 5 wounds from that, and then the second gun on the barge went ahead and finished him off, and then he didn't get back up. Poor Guilliman. These bikes, they're like, hey, is that a chaplain with no Victrix Guard? Oh, look, he's dead. And he did mortal wounds just to be sure. And that is it. At the end, I was able to score 2 objectives with my 2 characters to pick up 10 points. I didn't have anybody in the center. I only picked up 1 point for Oath. The final score, let's go to the sheet. 84 to 71. Necrons win. What a great game. Thanks, Walter, for coming out, bringing his Necrons. I'm sure we'll see him again on the channel. If you liked what you saw, please share with your friends, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to see more games like this in the future. Until next time, this is Thomas from Tabletop Life.